New hardware is so exciting. It's finally the day of the Splatoon 3 Switch OLED. I don't have an OLED Switch yet, and I knew I was going to get one eventually. I was just kind of waiting for a good one, and then this is the good one. When I went to EB just earlier to pick it up, the girl who knows me there, because I'm a regular, I had a quick look at her one that she bought and it looks so good. But until now, I've been using my launch day Switch, always on the TV docked, and portably I always use my Switch Lite here and also just play this in the morning before work. That was also a launch day Switch Lite. So finally, a nice OLED. I have briefly used a Switch OLED before. My nephew has one, so I've used his one for a few minutes. But I've never properly played anything on one before. It's kind of, I remember when the OLED first came out, people were commenting on how small the box is compared to the original box. Just close it again. The size difference from like the original model box is a lot. It's packaged very nicely. There's Joy-Con. Looks so good already and they're still in the plastic. There's Joy-Con. So good. And I think they're kind of a tiny bit transparent on the back as well. And I've got like the little suction marks on it. The pattern on them just looks really cool. So for the Joy-Con, I have just stuck with those grey ones. I've never bothered buying any other Joy-Con because I never use those ones, but I'm glad to have some nice looking ones now. And because I so rarely use those ones, they don't drift or anything, which is good. Now for the actual system. Looks pretty plain and not that different from the front, except for the screen being bigger. The bezels are kind of darker looking as well than on the back. That's when it looks super cool. All the patterns. And there's a bunch of different stuff. I've got some Splatoon stickers. Some of those kind of look similar, like this sticker set that was on my Nintendo earlier. That's so cool. On the top is different on the OLED. Like the card slot is different and the buttons are different. That's interesting. Bottom's still the same. Now the biggest difference, from what I hear, is the stand, which goes all the way across the bottom now. Wow, that's so much better. It's just like my Surface Go. Because it doesn't go down quite as far as the Surface Go, but I suppose this is a lot smaller of a device. That's so much better than the flimsy little thing that was on the original one. So I did like using this kickstand because I preferred to play it on a table than actually holding it. And I used this on flights to PAX a few times. Oh, that's so good. Now where's the dock? So the dock is white now, and I think this has also got Splatoon stuff on it. And yes, it does. Oh, look at that. Bright yellow splat of ink on it, and more patterns, very similar to what's on the back of the Switch. Looks really cool. It's kind of matte finish, and then the ink splat. Looks so good. And then the other side. Oh, that's got a pattern on it as well. Wasn't expecting that. I think that just kind of pops off now. Yeah. Inside is still plain. And the inside has an Ethernet jack, which is nice. I won't have to use the Wii LAN adapter anymore. How does the size of that compare to the original dock? It's basically the same size, just shaped a tiny bit different. Not too different at all, still got the USB ports on the side. Yeah, that dock looks so good. Better than I was expecting. Gotta stick this back on. I'm not sure if I really like how that just kind of pops on and off like that. I liked this one how it had a hinge on it. What else is in here? The charger, I'll probably just keep that as a spare one. At the launch of the Switch I bought a spare charger for it anyway, because I thought I was going to be playing it portably more than I actually ended up playing it portably. It's another HDMI cable, I can just keep that as a spare. And oh, the Joy-Con grip, did they do anything with this? No, that's just a plain Joy-Con grip. I never use this thing so that can stay in the box. And what? Oh, there's the. Forgot about those. The Joy-Con rails, and they've got green and yellow bits on it. On my original ones, I liked having the rails for the extra buttons, but I've removed the strap just because that was annoying. So these can probably just stay in the box as well. Now, will it actually have any battery power to turn on? Yeah, it looks like it should. Put it on the Joy-Con. It's so clicky. Wow, the screen is very vibrant. I'll have to go through the setup thing. My Switch Lite is actually my primary one, just so it can go offline easier. And then I've got a 1TB card in my regular Switch, so I'm going to have to do the system transfer over to the new one. And then I think I'm just going to retire this one and not use it anymore. So I definitely don't want to get rid of it. So I've got a good collection of a lot of Nintendo stuff. When you first turn on the system and go through the initial setup, it doesn't make it very clear on how you're supposed to do the system transfer, because it just asks you to log in, and if you have an old Switch, and if you plan on keeping the old Switch. But so I had logged in on the new one, and then when you go to do the system transfer you have to log in again, so I had to make a temporary user and then delete the account I just signed in on as, and then go to the system transfer on here, then the system transfer on here, log in again, and then now it's doing the transfer. So they could make that a bit clearer. Unless if I should have said that I'm not going to be using this one anymore, then it would ask to transfer over to that one. But I'll also have to see what happens about putting the 1TB SD card in this one to see if it has to like format it and re-download everything again. The new hardware is really nice though. I'm glad I got one finally, and that it's a special one to keep for the collection. The screen is really nice, and it's actually quite a bit bigger. And I never had an issue with the size or quality of the screen on the normal Switch, because portably I think the normal Switch is too big anyway, which is why I use the Switch Lite for portable play. It's much nicer in the hand being smaller, I think. Right, well that's the transfer done. I'm not sure exactly what it transferred, but it must have done something, because my account is over there now. I thought it'd be a good idea for the first thing this Switch plays is the Splatoon 3 demo. I'm not sure why it looks like the screen is flickering a little bit on the camera there, but it's definitely not flickering. Wow, the screen is really vibrant. I think you can change the settings a little bit as well, from what I remember. Oh, what style? Maybe that one? Well, I hope that's been a good first look at the Splatoon 3 OLED. So I'm very happy with it. It's such a nice bit of hardware, and it's good to finally have got one for the collection and just to use generally. So that will be all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.